Imagine this. It's 2 a.m. You wake up to a deafening silence. The hum of the house is gone. The grid is down. A storm? A blackout? It doesn't matter. You have about 4 hours. That is the window of safety before the temperature in that box rises enough to turn your food into a biological hazard. By morning, hundreds of dollars of groceries are in the trash. Now, imagine a community that faces this reality every single day. Not because of a storm, but by choice. No electricity, no hum, no compressor. Yet, their milk stays cold, their lettuce stays crisp for weeks. They don't panic when the grid fails because they are off it. They know a trick. A physics hack so simple, so obvious, that it seems impossible in our modern world. And today, you're going to learn how to build their infinite cold vault for less than $20. We have been trained to believe that cold is something you have to buy. You pay the electric company, you buy the machine, you maintain the warranty. We treat temperature like a product, but the Amish treat temperature as a natural resource. Like wind or sunlight, they harvest it. And the device they use to do this? It doesn't have a single moving part. It has no plug. It costs a fraction of a penny per day to run. I'm going to show you how to build a thermal battery vault. It's a contraption that creates its own microclimate using nothing but the power of evaporation. If you want to lower your electric bill, prep for emergencies, or just understand how the world actually works, stay with me. Because the solution is sitting in your garden right now. Let's look at the numbers, because they are terrifying. The average refrigerator is the single most energy-hungry appliance in your home. It accounts for nearly 15% of your total electricity bill. And for what? We throw away nearly 40% of the food we buy. Why? Because we can't manage the humidity. We can't manage the cold. Your fridge is actually a dehydrator. It sucks the moisture out of your food, shortening its lifespan, and tricking you into throwing it away prematurely. But there's a deeper problem. It's fragility. We are tethered to the grid by a thin copper wire. When that connection is cut by a storm, by war, by economic collapse, our modern preservation methods vanish instantly. We are the most sophisticated generation in history, yet we are the least capable of feeding ourselves without a plug. Here is the contrarian truth. We are trying to solve the problem of heat by fighting it. We use compressors and chemicals to force the heat out. Nature doesn't fight heat, nature moves heat. When you sweat, you don't have a tiny air conditioner inside your skin. You use water. The water evaporates, taking heat energy with it. It disappears into the air. The Amish hack isn't about making things cold. It's about stealing heat. It is the art of evaporative cooling. And while you might think you know what that is, like a fan blowing on your face, you've likely never seen it weaponized for food preservation like this. First, we have to understand why your fridge fails you. Cold air is heavy. It sinks. When you open your fridge door, all that expensive cold air pours out onto the floor like water. Every time you grab a snack, you are bleeding energy. Your fridge has to work overtime to recool air that just escaped. It's a leaky bucket. The Amish solution starts with a material that modern industry largely ignores: unglazed clay. Terracotta. This material is alive with pores. Microscopic tunnels. It breathes. If you pour water into a terracotta pot, the water doesn't just sit there. It slowly migrates through the walls. This is where the physics kicks in. It's called latent heat of vaporization. It sounds complex, but it's simple. For water to turn from a liquid into a gas, evaporate, it needs energy. Where does it get that energy? It steals it from the pot. It steals it from the contents inside the pot. As the water evaporates from the surface, it literally rips heat energy away, leaving the behind significantly cooler. We are talking about a drop of 10 to 15 degrees Celsius, without electricity. This is the solution. I call it the thermal battery vault. Here is exactly how you build it. Step 1, the pots. You need 2 unglazed terracotta pots. One large, one small. They must be unglazed, that is non-negotiable. Glaze seals the pores, we need them open. Cost? About $10 at any hardware store. Step 2, the setup. Plug the drainage hole of the larger pot with a wine cork or waterproof tape. Place an inch of sand in the bottom of the large pot. This is your thermal regulator. Step 3, the insert. Place the smaller pot inside the larger pot. Center it. The gap between the two pots should be roughly equal all the way around. Step 4, the fill. Fill the gap between the pots with wet sand. Not dripping mud, but moist sand. Pack it down. This sand acts as a wick, drawing water up to the surface of the outer pot. Step 5, the activation. Pour water into the sand between the pots until it's saturated. Cover the entire setup with a wet cloth that drapes down into the sand. This keeps the air moving and the evaporation active. Step 6, usage. Place your food and vegetables, milk, cheese inside the inner pot. Cover the top with a damp lid or a wet towel. This is it. This is the machine. As the water in the sand and outer pot evaporates, it creates a constant, chilling suction on the inner pot. Why it works? The inner pot is shielded from the outside heat. The outer pot is doing the work. The sand ensures a steady supply of water. It is a passive, self-regulating system. Cost, $15. Time to build, 15 minutes. Maintenance, you just add water once a day. This isn't new. In fact, it's ancient. The Egyptians used porous clay jars to cool water in the desert sun 5,000 years ago. In India and Africa, this device is known as a Zeer Pot. Research by the University of Nigeria found that these pots can extend the shelf life of tomatoes and peppers by nearly 20 days compared to open air. The Amish didn't invent the physics, they simply refused to forget it while the rest of us got distracted by neon lights and stainless steel. So, why aren't we all using this? Why does every home have a $2,000 energy-guzzling beast instead of a $15 clay pot? The enemy isn't technology, it's convenience culture. We have been sold the idea that saving 30 seconds of effort is worth a lifetime of dependency. The clay pot requires you to add water. It requires you to be present. It demands a tiny ritual of care. And then there is the system. There is no money to be made from a device that lasts forever and costs nothing to run. Planned obsolescence doesn't work on clay. The grid cannot charge you for rainwater and sand. But when you switch your mindset from consumer to producer, everything changes. Using the thermal battery vault connects you to the reality of your resources. You become aware of the humidity in the air. You become aware of the water you waste. This isn't just about saving food, it's about reclaiming a sliver of independence. It's a quiet rebellion against a system that wants you helpless and plugged in. We started with the fear of the power going out, the fear of spoiled food. But the problem was never the heat. The problem was our belief that we need complex machines to solve simple problems. The solution was always here, beneath our feet, in the dirt. You are not dependent on the grid. You are just dependent on your willingness to understand the laws of nature. The Amish don't reject technology because they hate progress. They reject it when it severs the connection between the effort they put in and the life they live. This pot is cold, but it is made of fire and earth. It is simple, but it holds the wisdom of centuries. And it is sitting on your porch, waiting for you to wake up. I want you to try this. Go buy 2 pots. Build a thermal battery vault. Put a thermometer in it and tell me what temperature drop you get. Are you going to rely on the grid, or are you going to rely on gravity and physics? The choice is yours. Stay curious, keep building, and I'll see you in the next one.